Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm gonna go over a couple of important things regarding the AI Skydome light. So in the last tutorial, I went over, what happens when you delete the Skydome light, right? And going over the AI shadow mat, right? So I brought everything back. Skydome light is here. And as for the shadow mat shader, I'm going to select it. As you can see, there's some overlapping going on, right? Skydome light, that's its node or its container or whatever the hell you want to call it. And here's my AI shadow mat. It's getting kind of crowded. What I can do is just click the 3 stars, make everything go away. Anyway, regarding the shadow mat shader, still has this light pinkish color tone, and I selected the AI Skydome light. Okay, I selected the AI Skydome light. Here it is. And what I'm going to do is I want to discuss. I'm going to open up my R node render view. Oh, here it is. R node render view is over here. Okay. Let me move that out of the way. Put this here. So the Skydome light. Here's the Skydome light. Attribute editor. Skydome light. Just to touch base on everything. Now, so you have all these crazy words and all this terminology, right? For this, all I want you to do is, first of all, exposure. And we're gonna increase it to 0.5. Okay? You saw that? It got brighter. I'm gonna undo it. It's dark, kind of dark. Set it to 0.5. See, it got brighter. Now, I'm gonna just delete these example renders that I did previously. Here we are. Let me delete this, this, and this. I'm gonna hit render, update full scene. So this is what it looks like now. Here's the before. I'm gonna hit 1 to 1 to get the right size, and after. Before, after. You see that nice kick? Highlight here and highlight here. Or you could just say illumination or fill light. So before, after. See that? After. Before, after. There you go. Here. And that is putting power to the exposure. Okay, before I had 0 exposure, and now it's 0.5. Right? Don't mess with the intensity. Right? Don't mess with this and this at the same time. Leave the intensity alone. Only increase exposure. And yeah, like 0.5 increments. Or 0.25 increments and such. And then samples. Samples, the strange word, the strange phrase. Basically, it has to do with the shadows. In terms of the shadow quality, and also the shadow behavior, how it behaves. You'll see what I mean. Right now set to 1, and I want you to pay attention to this stuff. This is the shadows. That the Skydome light is casting shadows because it has a simulated sun, right? And these shadows are being cast because I'm gonna zoom in here. Press F, press 4, right? I'm, I'm gonna get rid of this grid right here. My grid thing, get rid of it. God, that was annoying. So here's the wall, the cylindrical room, right? And the wall is casting shadows over here, over here. So the whole point is when I grab my simulated global sphere light, and I go and set my samples to 2, right? Look what happens to the shadow. I turned off interactive rendering for now. Update full scene. Alright, so as you can see, here's the render and the shadow. Before, if you look, splotchy, jaggedy lines, splotchy, got some splotchy garbage going on, right? And even the shadows are kind of splotchy. You see that? So, but then after setting my shadow samples, they should right over here, shadow samples, you know. Anyway, shadows, this is the samples for the shadows, the quality. Before it was 1, I set it to 2, and boom, huge difference. You see how crisp the lines are compared to this, which is basically samples at 1, and this is samples at 2, right? And the shadows are more complete. See, this here is wrong, but here the shadows are more accurate, and that is because of my samples. Regarding my AI sky dome light, the physical sun and sky, this is basically the sun and sky. And yeah, samples to 2, exposure from 0 to 0.5. From 0, dialed it up to 0.5. Okay, that's what we have. So, oh, and lastly, in the past, previous tutorials, I mentioned how cranking the camera anti-alias, the jaggedy line quality from 3 to 7 would make it nice and clean, right? But as you can see, it's still set to 3, and the quality is nice. That is because of my shadow, the samples, its quality. Okay, so, and the render times did not increase. Let me set this back to 1. I'm gonna save this by clicking on this. So 9 seconds, still 9 seconds. So just make sure to remember that. Yeah. Okay, so I also want to share one more thing, and it's a nice one. I'm here in my render settings, okay? Let me just X that out, and just to show you where it is again, right here. It's here, render settings. Okay, so this is again where you go to with anything requiring rendering, okay? And I'm gonna close everything. So I'm in my Arnold Render tab. Here's the common, and here's the Arnold Render tab, okay? Like I discussed before. The last one under imagers, right? And I discussed about the imagers. We're using the denoiser, remember? But now we're gonna add another little extra bonus goodie trick is lens effect. Again, lens effect. And another important rule, this denoiser, right? The denoiser where it hides all the graininess, right? Number one rule, the denoiser always stays on top. This stacking order is important. I repeat, the denoiser always needs to be on top. Anything else needs to be below it. Otherwise it will not work. And your render will look grainy and ugly. So, here's my lens effect. Lens effect. Okay? Highlight it. And move this out of the way. And then highlight it. And under my attribute editor, okay, here's my channel box, but I need my attribute editor. Have this selected so its attributes pop up. I'm gonna give my bloom, my light bloom, I'm gonna give a strength of, I don't know, like here, say give a strength of 3. Okay, my light bloom. Okay, but nothing happened. See, nothing happened. And if you look over here, everything's grayed out. There's no triangle, the play button. There's no IPR, so everything's grayed out. So what the hell's going on? Well, the issue is, it's because this is highlighted. See, this is selected. All right, so unclick that, and wow, look, there it is. So I did this on purpose because I can guarantee you're gonna get tripped up. So just remember, uncheck that. Here it is. No light bloom, no lens effect. All right, this is the before and after. Here's our lens effect. See, that's how you get that nice little light bloom. Lens effect. Just increase the strength. And later on you can mess with the threshold, but that's for later. And then if you also want, there's something called vignetting. So let me save this. Click on that. So boop, boop, boop. There. And then let me crank my vignette to say 1. Oh, see? Uncheck that. Now everything's live. This is my interactive rendering is live. So I'm gonna set my vignette to 1 and enter. So before, after. So it causes vignetting on the sides. Maybe I'll set it to 1.5, enter. Maybe I'll set it to 2. So it kind of looks like it's kind of darkening the scene, but as soon as I give it a rim light, the vignetting will be more evident. Right, so before, after. So maybe this might look like it's making the scene duller. But yeah, that's vignette. For now, maybe I'll just turn it off. But later on, when you add more lights, the vignetting will come into play. Yeah. And then another thing is, so like I said, so there's another goodie that I want to share with the class to get nice renders, right? So here we are. Again, we're gonna go to add imager. We're gonna add a exposure, plop. Here's the exposure, and make sure you're under attribute editor to mess around with its attributes. Exposure, let's start cranking it up. Plop. See that? And then maybe I might make it like, I don't know, 0.4, because it was kind of getting too bright. Okay, so here's before, after, before, after. See? It's not blowing out yet. I'm gonna save it. Now let me go back to my lens effect, and now I'm gonna turn on my vignette. 1.5. Okay, so here's before the vignette and after vignette. So save it. So no lens effect, after lens effect, after exposure, kick, and now next one is with vignette activated and in use. So vignette, the lens effect is under the vignette. Let's set it to, I don't know, 2. But look, nothing happened. Oh, but you know why? Because this is on. It's still showing me the old one. Plop. There you go. Before, after. With more vignette. Maybe I'll crank the vignette to 3. See that? So here's that 0. And here's that 4. Okay. And maybe now I'll go back to my exposure. Let me crank it to, instead of 0.4, 0.5. Okay, maybe 0.6. See? See how everything starts to get balanced out. 0.7. Alright. Still get my kick over here. I still have a... Ooh, see that? You start to see and feel the vignette. I don't know if you see it, but you start to feel it. Well, save it. Alright, so here's before, no special effects on, no lens effect, no exposure, and then if I let go of this old render, boom, see that? Before, boom. No, you cannot tell me you don't see it. Before, bam, there we go. And all of that was because of lens effect, you know, strength at 3, and then I left the vignette alone. I kicked it up after I set my exposure. I crank my exposure to 0.7, where it starts to get blown out. I go back into my lens effect, and I cranked up my vignette to 4, and I got a nice balance. So before, boring, after, plop, nice. You get to feel it. See that? Nice highlight here, bloom. And before all of that, look at that. This is ugly as hell. Now, boom. Nice. I like it. All off of these, only these right here. So this is the good stuff, you know. I'm sharing really, I think this is good stuff to share. So and I haven't even added area lights yet. Guess what would happen if I give it a nice rim light from behind? You know, get a nice rim light. I think that's what my next tutorial is gonna be. So that's pretty much the end of this tutorial. Yeah, I hope you guys apply these, because it's not much, but it adds so much. Alright, bye bye.